Van Dyke throwing for the first time. Quick hitter. Here's Colby Young. Check out the speed. Colby Young is gone. Touchdown, Hurricanes. Shot out of a cannon to start this third quarter. Right back to Fletcher. Runs through it. Touchdown, Hurricanes. Here's Henry Paris Jr. Breaks a tackle into the end zone. Touchdown, Hurricanes.
Welcome to the MarcWes Sports Podcast.
So before we jump into that, I want to talk about the Canes, and I'm gonna give it to you. You feel me? Because again, like Marcus say, when he need information on the Miami Dolphins and the Heat, he gonna come to me. When I need info on the Canes, and that's CanesCounty.com, I'm gonna go holler at my dog Marcus. So Marcus, like, set it off, man. Let me know what's going on right now.
First off, let's just talk about the game, man. Let's talk about the 38-3 win over Miami of Ohio. It was an impressive game. And, you know, I'm breaking it down like all kinds of which ways. You know, when we was first watching it, when I say we, just me and everybody else that was in the press box with me, it was like, what's going on with TVD? You know, like that was kind of the question. Like, why is TVD really hurt? He's got a bandaged finger. He's got like tape around his finger. Is he really 100%? That all of those questions were kind of coming up at first. And I think those questions were kind of answered during the week because the offensive coordinator came out and said that TVD had a great game. He was very efficient. He basically was just giving what the defense gave him, you know what I'm saying? Because the defense was playing off the entire game. They're playing off coverage. And you play Madden. When they playing off coverage, we quick slanting or we drawing or, you know, we doing all kinds of stuff that's going to eat those yards that are like in between like 7 and 8 yards if you're going to give us that. So that's basically what Tyler was doing. So now hearing that, I feel like he didn't have a bad game. The offensive coordinator also said it was his fault when TVD threw the pick. He said he was kind of getting greedy. He said he was running the ball so much that he was like, you know what? Let's just try something deep, just for the simple fact of just trying it. But they were playing off coverage. But at the same time, I think TVD's got to see that guy. He just didn't see Buddy. He didn't see Buddy at all in the picture. He was playing a zone. He was playing in that soft zone, and he just dropped back. He saw the ball. He locked in on Jacoby George the whole time, who was running like a corner route. So I put it on both of them. On that one interception, the quarterback and the OC, since the OC took responsibility for it. But overall, I felt like TVD had a decent game. I'd like to see him run a little bit more, you know, just to kind of get some yards. I think he's so focused on going to first read, second read, third read. By the time, you know, he wants to get the ball out of his hands, he's really throwing it into an area where he's hoping it doesn't get picked, you know, or the receiver will make a big play. So that's what I got to say about the passing game. Now, the running game, though, Wes, you've seen it. The running game is legit. The running game is super legit. It's like, I don't want to say this because people are going to be like, damn, why are you taking it back to those days? But the running backs that you have on this team are very reminiscent of like the early 2000s when you had McGahee, you had Frank Gore, you had Clinton Portis, you know, you had all of these backs that were capable of getting you 10, 12, 13, 15 yards at any given moment. So I was really impressed with Henry Paris. Henry Paris seems like he's taking his game to the next level. You know, he just seems more decisive in his running, and he always usually gets you positive yards. He's not going to give you the big home run, but he gave you a couple of big runs in this game, especially towards the end of that first half, where if he doesn't have that big run, they don't have another field goal before the end of the half. Really kind of, you know, this really wasn't the game anyway because that defense really kind of shut them down. I think they was motivated by what Brett Gabbert their quarterback said, talking about what the real Miami of Ohio was. So the running game, back to them, I just really think that they are a real strength of this team. Mark Fletcher, the freshman, I think he has a chance to be one of the best running backs to ever play at the University of Miami. AJ Allen, he's really your home run threat. His long run was his just sheer speed getting around that corner. Like a lot of running backs wouldn't be able to get around that edge like that. So I still feel like big things to come from AJ Allen. Don Chaney, he finally looks like Don Chaney. You know, like he's the back that you thought he was going to be, like this hard bruiser, someone who's going to be running hard, running over people. That's what I saw in high school from him. So we finally going to see that from Don Chaney. And I think the fact that there's all these running backs in the room, it just makes him even more motivated to do something when he gets the rock. So just really overall impressed by the running backs. 0 drops in this game by the wide receivers.
I guess the jug is working.
Yeah, 0 drops by wide receivers. So that's something that's been plaguing the Hurricanes for years, especially last year. So to see that, definitely a step in the right direction. Now, defensively, they held Miami of Ohio to negative rushing yards in the first half. You know, and then in the second half, they let a lot of the young guys play in the game. So, you know, some of those plays towards the end of the game, I think wouldn't happen if the starters were in the entire time. Linebacking play. Francisco Kiko Malanoa, he is that deal. He's that deal. And you could tell he's a kid that just loves playing football. He's one of the more efficient linebackers on this in that position group. And then Wesley Bassane had the highest grade when it comes to Pro Football Focus, which is like a metric that we use to kind of measure how players are doing. He had the highest grade of the entire defense and got his first sack of his career in that game. So they hit on all cylinders, and Borregales hit his field goals. You know, he hit all of his touchbacks too. I think we need to focus on that too. And then the new punter, who's a rookie, another Australian punter. You know, he was averaging like 40 yards a punt. So I think they dominated pretty much in every aspect in this game. The only aspect you were like, oh, we didn't really see any long, big passing plays. But like I said, when I started, this, I feel like Tyler Van Dyke was just, he has the ability to change the play now. He didn't have the ability to audible last year. He always had to depend on Josh Gaddis for the play or check to him if he wanted to change a play. This time he's got more freedom to do what he wants. So I think he did right by the plays that he was calling. So fast forward to this week now, man. Texas A&M, it's a big game, man. It's a huge game for a lot of different reasons. You're playing an SEC opponent, so you kind of want to show that, you can play big boy ball with them. Last year, they were in the game the entire game. They had so many chances to kind of win this game. Penalties, drop passes, the muff punt by Tyreek that led to a touchdown. And then towards the end of the game, they actually had a chance to still make it a game. It was only an 8-point game. They could have got a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it. And then the drop ball by Rashard Smith. It was just a frustrating game overall because you felt like the Hurricanes were a better team than A&M. They just made more mistakes. So this year, I just feel like it's a whole different mentality with this team. I feel like they're just ultra focused. I think that 5-7 season really humbled them. I feel like they understand they have to work for every play, work hard in every practice, and work hard in every game if they want to win. And I think they realize that now. I think they'll be motivated because they lost to Texas A&M and they felt like they should have won. Now they're at home. They don't have to do the whole travel. And that stadium was intimidating last year. I actually had a chance to go there, and it was crazy. It was crazy, just the amount of fans, how loud it was. It was just unreal. Now you have your own home crowd cheering you on. Family, friends are going to be there. A lot of hometown kids are on the team, as you know. So this is a real chance for Miami to prove that they are back to being Miami. And Cristobal needs a signature win. This would be definitely a signature win for him if he can pull it off. And I think they will, man. I know people are going to be like, nah, you're a homer or whatnot, but I just needed to see that first game. I needed to see what this really was against another opponent. And going into that game, I thought they were, if I didn't see Miami play for the last 5 years, then I would have been like, oh, Miami's going to dominate this team. I would have went into that game thinking that. But that's not what I see all the time. They keep it close at times. So that's why I was like, oh, it's going to be like a 27-16 type of game. And then, they did what they were supposed to do against a team that's inferior. Now, this team is pretty much on par with them, especially since last year, Texas A&M went 5-7, just like Miami. Last year, they got rid of their OC. They got a new OC as well, Bobby Petrino, who used to coach at Louisville, Arkansas. He used to coach for the Falcons for a little while. So you got a new offensive scheme. And then they got rid of a lot of kids and brought in some kids, just like Miami did. So these two teams are really similar in their path or their trajectory is concerned. So I give Miami the edge here because they're at home and because, it just seems like there's just a different mentality here when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes, especially when it comes to this O-line. This O-line looked good. TVD was not sacked once in this game. He was pressured once in this game. And the only sack that was given up was when the backup got in, Emory Williams, which is another story in itself. The fact that Emory Williams, the true freshman, is now the backup over Jakari Brown. I mean, that's something like, if you've been following us on CanesCounty.com and our message board, we've been on that. We've been, telling you that could be the case. And even here, I've been saying that. Yeah. I've been saying that Jakari Brown, hasn't been looking good. Emory Williams looks like a freshman, but still looks a little bit better than Jakari Brown. So that was the only sack given up, and I think it was only like a 1-yard loss anyway. Mm-hmm. So
and he tried to run, so
yeah,
that's why it was a sack.
Yeah, so I think overall that offensive line is so much improved. It's so much improved, and I think a lot of credit needs to go to Matt Lee, the center in the middle, because the Mauler is usually like the quarterback of the O-line, and he's calling the shots and calling the assignments and whatnot. Jalen Rivers looks pretty good for a guy who hasn't been playing left tackle. Mm-hmm. We need him to step up even more in this game. And then you got Javion Cohen and Nez Cooper. Nez Cooper came out with a crushing block on that play with Mark Fletcher. Mm-hmm. Like a running back or a fullback out there. And Matt Lee too. Matt Lee was out there pulling, for blocks. So this is an athletic offensive line. I'm still concerned about the depth of it. They lose 1-2 guys. I'm gonna be hurt about it. But overall, I feel really good about Miami going into this game. I think the crowd, despite what you're hearing and seeing about this crowd not going to be a sellout or whatever, I don't think it really matters. As long as you got the 50,000 in there that's really there for the Hurricanes, which are really the true fans, it's gonna be loud enough. It's gonna be a great atmosphere for the Miami Hurricanes. So I think that is going to play a factor, and I think they get their first turnover of the year as well. And so yeah, that's all I got pretty much for the Hurricanes. For more, of course, go to CanesCounty.com. I'm working on a story now, just talking about how it's not really about revenge. Oh, I got to point this out too.
What's up?
Shamar Stewart. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart is a player that Miami was, neck and neck with Texas A&M in recruiting. Mm-hmm. 5-star from Pace down here. He ended up choosing Texas A&M, and they talked to him during the week, and he was like, "Oh, I know they want revenge, but that's not gonna happen."
I still got a good amount of friends on the team, but come Saturday, we ain't friends no more.
I mean, how much do you draw from that film from last year?
Oh, nah, they're a completely different team. I know it. They've been working hard all offseason. I just know how hard they've been working. I know they want to get their revenge on us after last year, but it ain't gonna happen this year. Maybe some other time, but not this time. Oh, I've been thinking about this since last year when the season schedule came out.
What have you seen from Tyler Van Dyke on film?
Man, when he gets hot, he's hot. You know, we just gotta get him off his game. We gotta hit him a couple times, toss him around a couple times, get in his face. But we're gonna be good. Trust me, we're gonna be good.
I'm like, why are you adding bullet board? I mean, that's good. It's great. You know, you just added bullet board material for the Miami Hurricanes. He's like, oh, but that's not gonna happen. I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna see that for a player that's not even a starter. He's a rotational player on the D line.
I mean, he could have been starting if he was in Miami.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I don't think he would actually. With this D line that Miami's got, I don't think he'd start over like a Nigel Lee Kelly or a Akeem Mesidor or something like that. You know, so we'll see. We'll see how it's going down. I just got the visitors list.
Okay.
The official visitors list from. Oh shit! And then Gene responded back with 500 for the bet.
You feel me? I try to tell you, boy. Let's go, man. We gonna be raped, boy. He gonna get raped this year with that money. He's taking that money, everything that he got, boy. If it's the Dolphins, if it's the Canes, if it's the Heat, I wonder if his ass bet hockey too, boy. Like, let me take some of that too, boy. Come on, man. But yeah, man. Yeah, piggybacking off what you were saying, man, I agree with everything that you were saying as far as with the O-line, as far as with the D-line. O-line looking crazy, looking like big dogs with heavy nuts on Francisco Manoa, looking great at the right tackle side. I know he had one penalty, but I would accept that penalty because if he didn't take that penalty, our quarterback would have got hit. It was something like he was trying to pancake him, but it didn't work out the way he wanted. I think he didn't have the leverage, and he just wound up taking that holding call, which was perfectly fine because, again, like what you were saying, if you got TVD supposedly injured with some type of injury, I don't need anything happening against a mediocre team. And, yes, we are the real Miami. Now, in regards to the running backs, hold up. The 4 horsemen, like wrestling, we got the 4 horsemen in the backfield, boy. We got Arn Anderson, Ric Flair. We got everybody back there. Franklin was doing his thing. I'm like, damn. And you know the funny thing is not just Franklin.
You mean Fletcher?
I mean, yeah. Fletcher. You got Fletcher. Yeah. You got Don Chaney. You got Parrish. And you got, Allen. Allen was balling, man. From my understanding, he was supposedly like one of the best running backs on, if not the best running back on the actual team. If you're talking about Franklin, we know he's going to eventually be the best. I mean, why do I keep saying Franklin?
Because Franklin was on the team last year.
Okay. Fletcher is going to be unstoppable, and you can actually see that. I think once he start figuring out the offense, like that. Because remember, he just came in the summer. We're not too long from the summer when he didn't have that whole offseason like everybody else, but he was balling. The plain fact that all the running backs had 9 carries, except Chaney. He had 8. All of them had 9 carries, and all of them was balling out. It's like what it was back in the G when everybody was fighting for their position. Yeah, you may be the number 1 running back right now, but next week you're probably not going to be that if you slack off. And this is the type of competitiveness that we want on the University of Miami, on the D-line, O-line. I mean, the wide receivers was looking great. There was one that was looking crazy. His name started with an 8, Horton. You was looking like, why are you on the team? I'm like, come on, man. Of course you're going to fall. Of course you're going to fall. Of course you're going to drop the pass. Of course you not drop the pass, but be close to the pass and can't catch the ball.
I agree with you on Horton, though. Like, he was one of the weakest links, I would say, probably on the receiving front. Rashard Smith, and you kind of want to see more from him as well. I think he had 1 catch for 0 yards, but on a positive note, you saw Nathaniel Joseph, Ray Joseph, the freshman, get a catch, get his first college football catch, and you saw Riley Williams as well get his first career catch as well. So it was good to see those young guys get out there at the end of the game and just be productive. And what you didn't see was a lot of tight end play at all. You didn't see Cam McCormick. He was doing great blocking, but he didn't catch any footballs. Elijah Arroyo didn't dress for this game. Hopefully he will be for this game Saturday against Texas A&M. I actually asked Coach Cristobal personally about Arroyo, and he said it's basically a game time decision. There's progress. Cristobal loves to use that word, progress, and there is some progress with his rehab, but not sure if he's going to play. Probably that what's disappointing is Jaleel Skinner. The fact that he is not taking the next step, apparently, in his development. The sophomore 4-star out of IMG Academy. Miami flipped this guy from Bama. So you already know he's legit. And he has yet to really kind of make an impact. He was kind of a no-show during the scrimmage. And it would seem that he would have his opportunities, being that Elijah Arroyo has been, coming back from injury. So that's kind of like the disappointing, I guess, aspect of this team thus far. There weren't any other disappointing aspects, though, to be honest. Damari Brown, freshman, did get burned a little bit on a play, but that's something that kind of usually happens. I liked what I saw from Jaden Davis. Okay, so you back now.
Yeah, of course. I don't know what's going on right now with this power situation. This brightest day outside. There's no storm. Of course, this want to happen. This is the thing. That's when people are hating, because every time it seems like we're recording, we're talking about the University of Miami, the power go out. You feel me? But okay,
yeah, I was just talking a little bit about the DBs and just kind of talking about their play. To Corey Couch, he did miss a tackle on one play where he was just kind of over pursuing a little bit. But I think overall, he was one of the highest graded players when it comes to Pro Football Focus. So he seemed like he has elevated his tackling ability, because I know he had one devastating tackle on a player stopping a first down. Cam had a huge tackle on he destroyed this guy's life on over on the sideline, and when we asked Cam about that, he was like, "Oh man, yeah, they were playing, they weren't really passing the ball at all, and I just wanted to finally hit somebody." I was like, that's the type of stuff that I like to hear. Cam Kinchins is a total Miami Hurricane, true and true. So it was good to hear that, and just good to see a play like that. Even the press box, they were like, "Whoa," So it's good to see that. But they're going to be tested this week against Texas A&M. Texas A&M, yeah, they played New Mexico, which is a garbage ass team. Probably you could say maybe the worst team in college football, and they destroyed them 52-10. But they still look good. They were efficient throwing the ball. They got a dual threat quarterback. Texas A&M does, and Connor Weigman. Saw his tape, saw his highlights, and Miami wasn't really tested by Miami of Ohio when it comes to a running quarterback until the end of the game, which is probably something that they should probably did a little bit earlier in the game, because their backup, who played most of the season last year, is a dual threat quarterback. So this guy is dual threat. I think last week he had 32 yards rushing. And I think last year he averaged, I think he had maybe 27 as a long, but I think averaged close to around 10 yards a game or something like that.
Okay.
Or 10 yards carry. So yeah, that is going to be a factor. So they got to watch out for the running quarterback. Let's see if they fix that issue, and let's see what happens when they're tested vertically because Miami of Ohio didn't do that. This game they will be tested vertically, and Texas A&M's got one receiver that's 6'6".
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about the receivers because I know our corners. I'm not sure how tall they is. You know, we are used to having shorter corners, and I don't know how the Damari brothers or how tall they are. I know they're probably like 6 feet, maybe 6'1", but
yeah, they're around that area. There's no cornerback that's really big.
damn,
Tall.
6'6".
I would
They
say
need to throw James Williams on his ass, man.
yeah, I
James
was gonna
Williams
say
about the
James
same
Williams
height.
is probably your tallest defensive back. I think Williams is like 6'5", I believe. So yeah, he's really your tallest guy. Cam is not even really that tall. Jadias Richard, I think, might be 6'2" or 6'3". Corey Couch is not that tall. Neither is Damari Brown. They're hovering around the 6'1", 6'2" range. You know, they're not small. But yeah, they do have one receiver that's 6'6", that, you know, balled out last week. But their other two top receivers are not tall though. They're more like speedy, slot type of guys, 5'10", 6 feet. Type of guy. So you got really one guy that you really need to be concerned with. Noah Thomas is his name. Evan Stewart was your top receiver for them last week, and he's around like 5'11" or 6 feet. And then Anais Smith, who played in last year's game, he's around the same height. So those are their top three receivers. And then they got a running back from Central, Amari Daniels, who's a running back that I've watched for several years, won state championships. He is one of their top running backs. And then they got who many consider the number one running back in the 2023 class last year, Reuben Owens. So, and then they got Le'Veon Moss, who is another good running back. So they got a nice stable of running backs themselves. So it's gonna be a great game, man. I think it's gonna come down to the very end. And when it comes to the intangibles being penalties, turnovers, and special teams. Like those are like when it comes to close games, those are the things that will let you know if you lost or won. Special teams, I already told you how I felt about it. Turnovers, I feel like Miami's going to win the turnover battle, or it's going to be even. The other part is penalties. Penalties, they didn't do that great last week. You know, they had, I want to say, 4 false starts. They had a delay of game. They had a holding call, like you said, but not terrible for a game one. You know, not terrible. So if they can keep that to a minimum, I think they squeak out the win here, man. And the money's been going on Miami, by the way. This game was a 7.5 point. They were a 7.5 point underdog. Now it's down to 4, which means everybody is putting money on Miami.
Why not?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm with them as well. I might put in a little wager as well. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as long as the Canes, like you say, not have those penalties, because those penalties did come at critical moments when it was like short yardage with like 3 and 2, or second and 2, and it wind up being second and like 7 or 8 or something like that. You don't want that, you know, especially when you're a younger O-line, as far as, you know, with your knowledge with each other, what this guy gonna do next to me. Y'all not really familiar with each other like that. I mean, you gotta 6 months together working with each other, majority of these players. So it should be a positive. But again, at the end of the day, we said that last time. As long as they get those penalties and whatever they need out of the way against this garbage team in the fake Miami, then we have nothing to worry about. We can go ahead and have those mistakes, bring them on to Texas A&M, and capitalize on those mistakes that we wind up fixing. So for me, as long as it's wind up being fixed, as long as the 4 horsemen in the backyard is doing their thing and the O-line hold up, open up these gaps for these 4 horsemen, then we should be perfectly fine. Because like you said, TVD, he got rushed one time. The sack didn't come to him. It came to Emory Williams, and that's because he was trying to make something out of nothing. and he almost got away. So that's a positive. And regardless of the fact, just the plain fact that we can have all these other players, second, third string players playing, that's what we wanted to see. We said we wanted TVD to and the rest of these players, the starters, to handle their thing in the beginning, and then we could see everybody else. And that's exactly what happened. If we could continue doing that with Texas A&M, and we could find a way to kind of put this 6'6" guy in a bubble, everybody gonna know where he at. He's probably gonna be the tallest person on the damn field.
Yeah.
We can do good things. I mean, I like the trash talk that Stewart said. It was not really much talking trash, but because he praised us as well. He's like, he's friends with a lot of the players on the D line. They still chop it up, but he said what he was supposed to say. Like, I can't really say that was bulletin board material, but if you're like MJ, Michael Jordan, in any sense, any small minuscule piece of bulletin board can be some type of motivation. But again, like with our safety said, Cam Kitchens, like, we don't need no motivation. I know he was talking about Miami of Ohio, the fake Miami, but in regards to now in Texas A&M, we don't need no motivation. We're both teams that was 5-7. We're both trying to get to the next level, and that's the NFL. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a close game. We're going to see what's going on. I'm going to be glued to the TV. I don't matter. It's still going to be kind of hot. I'm kind of mad that it's at 3:30 and not at 12 o'clock, where they could get when Miami's extra hot. That's the hottest time in the day when you come to Miami at 12 o'clock. Yeah. I wanted them to play in that, but it's all good. I want to beat them, and I would just want to shut everybody else the way Deion Sanders was shutting everybody else, and he was holding his receipts about all these people in the media that was talking trash and saying, oh, this, that, and the other, we're going to lose, we're going to do this, that, and the other. I mean, we got Coach Cristobal. He's not Deion, but he's doing the same exact thing. He's doing the same thing, and he's just doing it at a below the radar level, and that's how we want it. You already know. Everybody know they do not like Miami because of the beaches, the women, and the weather. Of course, we got to throw that in, and this is going to be another reason why they're not going to like us, because again, we have the Miami Heat about to go ahead and possibly get Damian Lillard. We got Messi over here doing his thing, causing a mess in the MLB. And if the Canes to go ahead and do their thing, like what they've been showing us last week, and continue on, man, I don't see nothing but positive things for the University of Miami and Mario Cristobal. So for this game, what's your score?
I feel like this game can go like either way as far as like total score. I feel like it could be a high scoring game or it could be a low scoring game. It could be a medium scoring game. It's really no telling, because both offenses probably can score at a rapid pace, and both offenses might get shut down by the defense. So I'm gonna say it's more somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna say 30-27.
Okay, 30-27, field goal. If it's a field goal, then regardless, I know you're gonna do your thing, and we're gonna win. But
he's motivated too, because he missed 2 field goals in the last matchup against Texas A&M.
More motivation. Keep watching that thing on repeat. Keep watching it on repeat.
And he told us that he could hit a 70-yarder too. He told us that. Yeah.
Yo,
he told us that he hit a 70-yarder.
The luck is already on his side, because the field goal last week had hit the field goal, and it still went in. Normally when you got somebody that's kicking the field goal and it hit the upright, it normally goes out and it went in. So that's a perfect thing. But yeah, my score for the game, I would say 22-28. I know 22 is an odd number. You're like, how do you get that number? But I'm just saying 21-22-28. I think that the Canes gonna hold it down. I think we got a lot more to prove, because regardless, we both got the 5-7 record. It seemed like Miami still get more hell in the media. I mean, they're giving Jimbo and his squad a lot more leeway. Like, it's like you got in trouble in class, but it's okay. we got the call home from our parents. You feel me? And I think that the Miami the Canes are gonna go ahead and be a little bit more motivated to shut everybody up. Again, Borregales with the field goals that he missed out on last year. And I think just, Stewart, that little bulletin board on material, it should have been somebody else that said something. Again, I don't think it was too much bulletin board material because he was praising us as well. But again, I think anything is a positive thing. And we'll see what goes on. 22-28, Canes win this and shut everybody up.
All right. What else is good, man? Well, before, let me talk about my dog Messi a little bit, you know, just so I can talk about it. I mean, he's still doing his thing. I mean, Inter Miami still has a chance to make the playoffs, which is crazy. It would be like a crazy run to go from worst to the playoffs.